Good day everyone, I'm Jerome Itaglokov from BL3A, and for this discussion, we will tackle about the 8 key elements of school as a social system. So let's start. So the school as a social system composed of 8 key elements, which is structure, individual, culture, politics, technical core, teaching and learning, environment, outcomes, feedback, loops, internal and external. So first, we will tackle about the structure. So roles are expectations of positions that are arranged in a hierarchy. In schools, the position of principal, teacher, and student are critical ones, and each is defined in terms of set of expectations. In short, formal organizations such as schools have structures composed of bureaucratic expectations and roles, hierarchy of offices, and positions. As a social system, a school has a formal and informal structure. Formal structure refers to the role and the function of the administration. It defines the role of the principals, what are the impacts and functions of the principals and teachers, as well as the students in order for the school to function. There are expectations to meet in every position. So principals are expected to lead and help the school to achieve progress. Teachers are expected to help and provide assistance for the development of the learners, and the learners are expected to follow and learn from them. Informal structure relates to its social relationship that helps the organizations to function. Schools are connected to the society. It possesses various beliefs and norms that was carried by the teachers and students. Because of the community connected to the school are able to function through the help of the people in the community. Individual. A key unit in any social system regardless of position. People bring them with individuals' needs, beliefs, and a cognitive understanding of the job. Cognition is the individual's use of mental representations to understand the job in terms of perception, knowledge, and expected behavior. It is the key unit of the social system. It constitutes the basic interaction unit. In the social system, individuals has functions or role to perform in terms of the status he or she occupies in the system. Schools have individuals that possesses various roles and positions like the principal, teachers, and students, which clearly justify the school as a social system. Next is culture. It represents the unwritten feeling part of the organization and shared values. Organizations develop their own distinctive cultures. There is a dynamic relationship between bureaucratic role demands and individual work needs as people brought together in the workplace. Similar to the emergence of informal organizations, culture emerges from interaction of individuals within a system. As individuals interact, they share values, beliefs, habits, and gain an identity as a group. This is a natural outcome of all social systems. Culture is the most visible aspect of organizational life that distinguishes it from others. Culture significantly affects behavior through establishing commitment to shared norms among individuals. In other words, culture represents the unwritten, feeling part that is the set of values, norms, and beliefs of the organization. Culture as the collective programming of the members of an organization. They have attitudes which stimulate them to act on a favorable fashion. It can be said that attitude governs one's mind while culture governs the organizational mind. Therefore, each member's attitudes gather in a good pool called culture. Next is politics and formal power relations that develop spontaneously. political dimension spawns the informal power relations that emerge, often to resist other systems of legitimate control. It is legitimate because it is behavior usually designed to benefit the individual or group at the expense of the organization. Politics inevitably appear in organizations. Politics emerges from the interaction of authority and power within an organization. There are three sources of power in an organization. Formal power originates from the structural system. The cultural system produces informal power, and individuals have the power of expertise. Politics is the way of how some individuals use their influence for their interest. They often use their power at backstage to profit their private affairs to the expense of the organization. It is legitimate because it is not stemmed from any formal authority. Therefore, it does not have to be in accordance with accepted standards of the organization. Hence, it is immune to the sanction of formal authority. Also, from the social behavior perspective, politics utilizes the absolute use of individuals' needs and thus ignores the organizational role expectations. Consequently, it benefits individual interest only. However, this does not mean that politics is always harmful to the organization. One advantage of the political system is that it forces a school to be responsible to its environment. School must pay attention to the external pressures, respond to their demands, and produce outcomes. In other words, schools are compelled to be open systems by political forces. Actually, the political system is in strong relation with the open system and share many similarities. It is clear that politics is informal and illegitimate, yet an inevitable factor affecting organizational behavior. Next is technical core teaching and learning. The teaching and learning process is the technical core of the schools. All other activities are secondary to the basic mission of teaching and learning, which shapes the administrative decisions in school. Learning occurs where there is stable charge in an individual's knowledge or behavior. When we say technical core, it is a system of organizational activity where the product of the organization is produced. In schools, the teaching learning process as the technical core. It shapes many administrative decisions, levels of organizational structure, and core instruction, also referred to as Tier 1 instruction. It consists of the learning experiences in which all students participate. It does not include special education services, enrichment for gifted students, or intervention programs. The technical core of education is defined as the interface between the student and the context in which they acquire or generate knowledge. It is the core purpose of the school in order to produce a product which is the well-trained and competitive graduates. Technical core structure of the organization. Actual product of the organization is produced. Teaching and learning in the classroom. So it also has goals which to empower all students, assess in a meaningful and effective manner. It also has variables which interact with each other as the learner work towards their goal. So teaching and learning can be through teaching pedagogies. So learning styles, techniques, and approaches and relationships. Next is environment. It is everything outside the organization but unlikely physical system. Social systems are open, hence the boundaries are much ambiguous and the environment more intrusive. Environment is critical to the organizational functioning of schools. It is the system's source of energy. It provides resources, values, technology, demands, and history. So when we see environment, it is the classroom environment. It influences or supports the interactions that occur among children, teachers, and family members. And also it is a set of relationships that occur among members of the school community that are determined by structural, personal, and functional factors of the educational institutions. So it is characterized by its facilities, classroom practices, school-based health supports, and disciplinary policies and practices. It sets the stage for the external factors that affects students. Also, it provides things and necessary equipments for the effective learning of the students, including the textbooks or even the surroundings where the students learns. Next is outcomes, the product of the organizations, and that is educated students. Performance outcomes are indicators of goal accomplishment. It includes indicators such as achievement, job satisfaction, absenteeism, and overall performance quality. The model assumes that the effective achievement of these behavioral outcomes is a function of the degree of congruence among the system elements. So outcomes are the knowledge, skills, and habits of work that students are expected to acquire by the end of an instructional period, such as a course, program, or school year. Outcomes indicates the achievements, the enhanced skills of the students, expected work, and applied it in the society. Every organization should have outcomes or products in order to be part of social systems. So the outcomes of the schools are the well-trained and competitive graduates. Also, some of the outcomes of schools are well-mannered and behaved graduates or people in the community. Lastly is feedback loops, internal and external. Feedbacks informs individuals how bureaucratic structure and the informal organization view their behavior. The formal school organization provides an official definition of the position, its rank in the hierarchy, and a set of behaviors that go with it. Behaviors in schools also monitor through external feedback loops. The culture of the community provides environmental constraints that directly influence bureaucratic expectations. Feedback loop in learning is a cause-effect sequence where data is responded to based on recognition of an outcome. One of it is internal feedback, and responsible of it is the feedback of the principals to the achievements, skills, and ability of the teachers to do their works, as well as to the students. Teachers' feedback towards their students' learning development and also their achievements and behaviors, while the community is responsible of the external feedback. External feedback is when the feedback or thought has to do with the external result. For example, the school produces graduates and are now working in the society. Their behaviors, ability, skills, and knowledge and how they apply it in their workplace are being viewed and observed by the external factors like the company they work in, people in their neighborhood, and their co-workers. What they perceive and if applicable tell to the graduates are external feedbacks, and most importantly, the most common external feedback is the how the graduates behave and act in the society. The social system model gives a dynamic view of school with the feedback mechanism and elements providing the action components. Good, bad, and neutral events occur constantly, and dynamic nature of the system becomes even more evident when we consider the ways that students, teachers, administrators affects one another behavior. That's all for this discussion. Thanks for listening.